Okay, so that brings us to today's lesson about growing and shrinking patterns. I'm just going to read through this page that has information. This is in your package, and then we'll take a look at the worksheet that you're going to be working through today. So it says you can use pattern blocks to show a growing pattern. The pattern goes from 2 squares to 5 squares to 8 squares to 11 squares. The pattern is going up or increasing by 3. And you could predict that the next group would probably use 14 squares because 11 plus 3 is 14. So the pattern rule for this growing pattern would be start with 2 squares and add 3 each time, or you could say each term. Either way is fine. So in the same way, you could use pattern blocks to show a shrinking pattern, a pattern that gets smaller. This pattern goes from 14 to 11 to 8 to 5. This pattern is going down or decreasing by 3. And you could predict that the next pattern would probably be only 2 blocks because 5 minus 3 is 2. So the pattern rule would be start with 14 and subtract 3 each time. Okay, so this is a really good introduction to writing a pattern rule for growing and shrinking patterns. We always want to have these 2 parts in our pattern rule. Where did you start and what do you do each time? Okay, the patterns you're going to be working with, for almost 100% of them, you're either going to be just simply adding or subtracting a number. Okay, so let's get into what I'm asking you to do here. What I want you to do is to draw the next 2 pictures in each pattern and then write the pattern rule. So I'll do the first one and then hopefully that'll help you guys finish up. So in this one, because I can't really draw dots with my computer, I'm probably just going to count and use the numbers. So let's take a look. It goes 3, 6, 9, and 12. So I can see we're adding a row of 3 every time. So after 12 plus 3 is going to be 15. I'll put my 15 there. Now, if you were doing this, you could draw the pattern. That's what it's asking you to do. I just can't really do that using the tools that I have in front of me. So sometimes I have to be flexible. And if I'm going up again by 3, there's 18. And then my pattern rule is going to have those 2 parts. Oopsies. So I want to talk about where I started. So I started with 3, start at 3, and add 3. I could even say dots each time. I want to say each term because I like using good math vocabulary. Term is a better word, in my opinion. That's a word that you're going to be using when you get into grade 5, 6, 7, and 8, so we may as well start using it now. Okay, so you're going to do that for B and C. Then you are going to be checking out number 2. It says represent each pattern using toothpicks. So you can, I don't know if you can see super well, but these are triangles and each triangle is made up of 3 toothpicks. So it says then write the number of toothpicks as a pattern. So let's see. So it wants me to write the number of toothpicks as a pattern. I keep turning my typewriter off when I just want to use it. All right, so we've got 3 toothpicks in the first one. In the second one, I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 toothpicks in the second one. In the third one, I've got 7. In the fourth one, I've got 9. And I could already see the pattern that's happening. I am starting at 3 and I'm adding 2 toothpicks each time for each term. And then you would do that again with B, except this time we're using squares. So for every square, there's 4 toothpicks. Okay. Number 3 says you can show number patterns using arrows on a number line For the diagram below, the pattern rule is start at 360 and decrease by 60 each time, and then extend the pattern 2 more times. So they started over here because they're decreasing at a 360, and they went down to 300, down to 240, down to 180, down to 120, and then you're going to extend that 2 more times, dropping it down by 60 each time. Number 4 says compare these 2 patterns. How are they the same and how are they different? And you're going to do that for A and B. So A is shown on a number line and B is just shown with numbers. And the last question, question 5, it says describe each pattern by telling how the number of blocks changes. So you could do this by just writing a pattern rule, and a pattern rule will start at blank, and then you are going to say add or subtract by blank each term. Okay, so I hope that provides you with the support you need to work on this math sheet. I'm going to